Hello and welcome to Living the Diet-Free Lifestyle, introducing the finally free, fit, and fabulous 5-step formula. Thank you so much for being here tonight on this webinar. We appreciate you taking time out of your life to check out this amazing program. So this program includes 5 different steps, and it is a program designed to really empower women of all shapes and sizes, ages, and weights to gain courage and confidence within themselves to love what is, live with joy, and connect more deeply with themselves and others. So what I'm going to do today is talk to you about this program and how I have lived through it and why it's so important to me to create this mission for women to step into themselves and begin to appreciate and accept themselves for who they are right now, today, in their bodies today. So why am I doing this? Hold on one second. There. Okay. Why is this such an important part of my journey? And I will share with you a little bit about my story. So my first diet started at 10 years old. It was due to a series of different events that happened now that I look back on it. I went to the doctor, and the doctor told my mom that I was outside the little lines of the chart in the doctor's office and that she ought to watch what I ate. So that was a start of some new rules established at home. My brother, tall and thin, was able to eat whatever he wanted, and I had different portion sizes, wasn't able to eat the same things he was. So there were some food rules that were established in the home at that point in time. And so with that comes not quite fitting in at school, having to shop in the Husky section as opposed to the regular section. So wearing different clothing as my friends did. So I went on my first diet and trying to fit in, trying to lose weight. And so I was in junior high school at the time. So this started around 10, 11, 12 years old. And I ended up in the hospital with anorexia nervosa. So this is in the 70s when that was not something that people knew about. But that was the start of over 30 years of eating disordered behavior and disordered eating behavior, binge eating, over-exercising, compulsive exercise, bulimia, coming in and out of my life really due to what was going on the external world of my life. So periods that I would fall into disordered eating patterns would be times of high stress or comments from somebody, something that I tried on. So it could have been any number of different things spun me out of control. And I went up and down the scale, a series of about 45 pounds, down 20, up 30, down 10, up 20, down 5, up 5, right? So it just never, always trying to be smaller because I thought that if I had the perfect body, then I would be happy, like everything would be okay. So this went on year after year after year. And I actually went into fitness as a profession. So basically my job fed my disordered behavior because I was able to work out as part of my job. That was helping me maintain a smaller range of weight. Although I have to say, I still was more like a 20-pound range that I floated in and out of, even with being an exercise instructor. And so when I was 50 years old, so this is a little over 5 years ago, I had my knee done. I had a knee replacement. But prior to that, about a year before that, my knee was breaking down and I was I was lying in the hospital bed to have my tibia actually broken in order to line up my knee so that I could continue to pound on it. And it was there that I'm lying in bed, and the doctor came in and said, I just want to let you know that if the knee's too bad, I'm not going to be able to do the surgery. And then he left, and I turned to my husband at the time and I said, right then and there, I said, he's not going to be able to do it. And so that was the start of a switch. That was like a switch went off in my head, and I said, what am I doing? This is crazy. I have beaten my body up year after year after year. And so this is the start of, I just said, I'm done. I've had enough. I can't do this anymore. I don't want to diet anymore. I don't want to do any of this. There's got to be a better way. There has to be something more than this, because I knew it wasn't working. And that's when I went back to school. So I had all this education already in exercise and fitness, and that I knew that that wasn't the answer. And I also had some nutritional experience, and I knew that that wasn't the answer. So I knew that there needed to be more. And so that's what happened. I went back to school. I became a lifestyle strategist, an intuitive eating coach. We'll talk a little bit more about that tonight. An eating disorder specialist. I call myself now a movement and play coach instead of a fitness instructor or an exercise instructor. Self-care body image expert. Because of my own struggles with my own body, I could never feel thin enough, strong enough, fit enough. I never felt smart enough either, right? So there was a lot of this not enoughness. So I also realized there was more to just this whole picture than just eating and fitness and movement. And so that's where the body image came in. And I went and I got trained as a self-taught trainer, because we're going to talk about that. That's going to be one of the first things we need to think about. And then also I'm a stress less yoga nidra guide, because stress is another huge factor in this whole weight journey. So let me share a little bit. This is why I've developed this finally free, fit, and fabulous formula. And it includes 5 different steps. Each step specifically is based on science. So the eating intuitively, we have some science base to support that. How joyful movement and play can create more sustainability. How self-talk is one of the most important things to address as we start this journey. Beginning to accept and appreciate your here and now body, this body that you have today, not tomorrow's body, not yesterday's body, today's body. And then learning how important decreasing stress is physiologically on the body in order to release weight, if that's what your body is ready to do. And the best way we can decrease stress is through self-care. So I hope you enjoy learning about these steps as we go forward. But first, I want to share a little bit about why the name. Why is it called Finally Free, Fit, and Fabulous? Well, finally, for me especially, this is after 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. My clients have been doing this work for only a year or 2 years after spending 20 or 30 or 40 years yo-yo dieting, on and off diets, restricting, in over-exercising, not exercising, binging, emotional eating, never feeling good in their bodies. So now that they're doing this work, it is finally because they've had years and years and years of struggle and frustration in their bodies and in society's culture too, right? Because you can't turn anywhere without seeing the next new fad that's supposed to help you lose weight. So finally, after years and years and years of struggle, free of these things: dieting, restricted calories, weights, what the number on the scale, how it makes you feel, BMIs, food rules and food police. I already said I had a experience with the good old food police, and I still do. You still see it day to day here. Um, in the world, I'll be sitting in a coffee shop, and I can hear food police in the next booth, right? Diet culture and the thin ideal. Free, free from the diet culture and thin ideal, letting it go. It's not what defines you. Negative thoughts, I call that the mini me that's on your shoulder telling you, um, you're not good enough, you're not thin enough, why can't you do anything right? That little guy. And then free of the shame and the guilt and the worry that comes with eating food. So finally, free of these things and fit, not just fitness in the term that we think about it, not just physically fit. We're talking emotionally fit. What does emotionally fit mean? More happiness, more joy, more compassion of self, less judgment and criticism and shame and guilt and worry. So emotionally fit and physically fit to do the things that you want to do, the things that bring you joy. Getting down on the floor to play a game with a child or a grandchild, being able to take a trip somewhere and putting your suitcase in the upper bin, things like that. What do you want to be able to do physically with your body? Let's look at that. And then spiritually fit to connect with yourself, to love, to have gratitude and appreciation, to connect with others. So it's a fitness in a lot of different ways, emotionally, physically, and spiritually fit. And then fabulous to step into this life, to do what you find passion. Where's your passion? Where's your purpose? What do you like to do? What brings you joy? What gives you energy? What makes you laugh? What gives you self-confidence and empowers you? Right? So that's where I come into where our mission statement is, so that you can love what is, live with joy, and connect more deeply to yourself and to others. So that's where the name Finally Free, Fit, and Fabulous came from. So let's dive into the 5 steps so I can take you on this little journey with me. Step 1 is eating intuitively and intentionally. This means rejecting the diet mentality, actually jumping all in and saying, I'm never going to diet again, because we know that diets don't work. And I'll talk about that in a second. But what eating intuitively is trusting your hunger and your fullness, starting to tune into when you're hungry. What does it feel like to be hungry, physically hungry? We need fuel for energy and to feed our bodies. What does it look like for me when I'm hungry? What does it feel like to feel full and satisfied? So it's about really tuning in to trust your body's internal cues that it has set up. Um, and then honoring our emotions, because a lot of times we turn to food when an emotion hits us. And that's what I did my whole life. Anything that came in that was stressful or hit me hard, I always would turn to food because it was safe. It was my friend, and it never talked back, never hurt my feelings. I hurt my feelings, but it never did, right? So this emotional connection to food. And so it's looking at how we can honor our emotions and feel our emotions without using food. These are just 3 of the basics of intuitive eating. There are 10 principles of intuitive eating, and we talk about all 10 of them, but these are the big ones that really can make the biggest impact in how to live your life free from dieting and free from the guilt and the shame that goes along with food. Rejecting the diet mentality is one of the hardest things, because we are surrounded by a serious diet culture and also a thin ideal. If you are thinner, then you are happier, you're successful, you make more money, whatever the things that are attached to the thin ideal. And knowing that that's not true. It is not a true statement that just because someone's in a smaller body, they're happier, they're healthier. It does not mean that. It just means that they're in a smaller body. So rejecting the diet mentality. Regular diets do not work. 95% of diets fail. 95% of diets fail. And then a lot of times you gain even more weight back after a diet. And the reason for this is physiological. It's not because you don't have enough willpower. There are physiological reasons that weight gain happens after you come off of a diet. The diet has slowed your metabolism, so your metabolism is sluggish and slow. It has increased two different hormones, ghrelin, increased hunger, and it's increased your cortisol level, which signals the body to hold on to fat. That's our stress hormone. And then it also decreases your hormone leptin, which makes you feel full. So the body is saying, hey, you need to eat. Let's eat something. That's why if you come up, you're on a diet, these things start to kick in, and then you come off the diet, and the body doesn't quite return back to normal right away. It takes time to return back to normal because it's going, wait a minute, I don't know what's going on. So it's really, that's the reason for the fact that 95% of diets fail, because the body fights against it. You actually are working against yourself when you go on a diet. So it's tuning into the body. Let's work with the body and trust the body and what it tells you internally versus an external diet. So that's step one, is this intuitive, intentional, and supportive eating. So really starting to step into this eating phase. So I have client ahas after each one of these steps, because I think it's really important to see these steps in action, right? So here's one from Eliza. Best news. I don't appear to be obsessed with sweets all the time. Strange and fabulous. In the past, I spent all this time and energy, mostly emotional energy, planning and eating and feeling bad about myself. No wonder I have so much energy. So it was so interesting. It was like a light was switched for Eliza when we legalized food. It wasn't that there were good foods and bad foods. All of a sudden, with this intuitive eating process, all foods were okay. Once it was okay for her to have a sweet, she didn't necessarily need the sweet. So it was one of the most empowering. I got this in a text, one of the most empowering texts I have gotten. I'm like, yes, she's getting it. So that's how you can see this in action. Step 2, joyful movement and play. So when we talk about moving our bodies, for years and years and years, exercise and fitness, there were a lot of rules for myself around exercise and fitness. You have to work out at least this amount of time. The heart rate has to be between here and here. You need to be burning this many calories. I ought to do this kind of exercise so that I can spot reduce, quote unquote. I should be doing these so I can make my legs smaller or my stomach smaller or whatever. There were lots and lots of rules around exercise for me. And what that did, because no matter how much I exercised, it did not make the impact that I thought it should, because of what I'd read, because of what I'd heard, because of what I'd been taught. So really starting to step away from even the word exercise for me was extremely healing. It's just about moving the body. So what we do at Shaping Perspectives is we disconnect exercise from burning calories, from weight, from body shape or body size. So it's a complete disconnect. We just pull it apart and we say, let's just move the body. What does moving the body look like? And what do you want to do? What's your end game? What do you want to be able to do with your body? And then let's take a look at that. And how can we simulate that and move the body in different ways so that you're able to do that? There's a picture of some kayaks there. What do we need to do to be able to get in and get out of a kayak and to be able to use the kayak and feel comfortable with it? So it's all about finding things that make you feel good, make the body feel good, and give you energy, not deplete you from energy. So what happens when we do this is all of a sudden exercise and movement becomes a want to I want to do that because it's fun. I enjoy it. It makes me happy. It gives me energy versus a have to or a should do or guilt and shame because I didn't. So we're disconnecting it and just let's just move and play the body. And what does that look like? Take away the rules, strip away the time, and we take the numbers out of it. 5 minutes, great. 2 minutes, great. 10 minutes, great. But finding things that you love and enjoy. And so a client aha for this. I love this. This is Jennifer, who is a mom. She's got 3 young children. And what we talked about is really shifting the way that she thought about her day. And so we got this active mom kind of mindset starting to shift for her. Every day she named her movement. What was my movement for the day? And became intentional about it. Okay, I have to bring these boxes upstairs and I have to do this and this and I have to go to the store, and so I'll park a little further away. So she just started to think I'm an active mom and made her movement. She kind of placed it in her day, all around her day, sprinkled it in all over the place. And it just shifted the way that she felt about herself and felt in her body. There was a great study done a while back. I don't know the real specifics, but it was about some maids, and the maids, one group of maids were told to exercise and another group of maids were told not to exercise for a period of 6 weeks. But the maids who were told not to exercise were told that doing their maid duties, doing their job was extremely fitness oriented, and that they were actually working out every day, all day long, because of what they had to do, bending over, vacuuming, making beds. And when they tested after the 6 weeks, the maids that actually were told that they were active and active in their job but weren't working out were the ones that made the most improvements, at the end of the study, versus the ones that weren't told that and were working out intentionally. So it's very interesting how the mind shift, we can make a mind shift, and that can change a lot of the way we move about our day. So moving on to step 3, and this kind of feeds right into this because this is empowering. I call it I was telling you in the beginning of the webinar about the mini me, the little guy, and now this is empowering your maxi me. So the maxi me mindset. So we have a inner critic, right? It's called the inner mean girl, or your inner critic. So one of our staples in this program is to develop your self-talk. Develop your self-talk with positivity, kindness, curiosity, compassion. Those are some of the words that we use. But we have a beautiful tool that helps with this, and it is called Self-Talk Plus. This is where I got trained to do this by my mentor, Dr. Shad Helmstetter. And these programs help shift and flood the brain with new ways to talk to yourself. We have been so programmed to beat ourselves up day after day after day. And we have to counter that somehow. So some of the terminology is just, you've heard probably of neuroplasticity of the brain. The brain is moldable. We can mold the brain. We can shape it. We can change it. So we can change your self-talk. Yet we have to notice it, become aware of it, erase the old, and replace. So if you take something away, you've got to replace it with something. So we're replacing and rewiring. I love this picture, and I think about this. If you were to say the same phrase, I'm stupid, or I'm fat, or I'm such a failure, I can never do anything right, any of those things, and you were to say them and you were to walk this path over and over and over and over and over again with those words and those phrases, we begin to wear a path just like this. And as that path is worn year after year after year after year, it becomes really difficult to step outside of it. That's why the self-talk audios are so helpful. And we use different types of words and phrases because we have to step outside this path. We have to start erasing this path and creating new pathways. And the only way we can do that is if we start to flood the brain with new words and new phrases. So just as a child learns a language by just hearing people around them talking, that's what we try to do, is we try to flood the brain with positive self-talk, that it's just in the background, that you just start to hear new verbiage that might sound unfamiliar at first because you've been walking this path. Changing the mindset and creating new pathways on the way you feel about yourself, about moving, about eating, about taking care of yourself. It's all shifting the perspective of the way that you think about yourself and starting to change the way you see yourself through your verbiage. So it's changing, erasing, and replacing the thoughts in our head. Here's Jody. My confidence and acceptance of self has completely changed. I pause first, which creates the time to notice and change my inner mean girl. I've decided she is no longer allowed to drive the bus. So we use this analogy of the inner mean girl taking control of the bus, right? She's driving the bus, and hold on, wait a minute. You're not driving the bus. I'm driving the bus. Step aside. You can step to the back of the bus if you like, but I'm driving the bus. So she's in complete shift in confidence now. And she just told me the other night that she actually told someone that she no longer wanted to work with them because um, they were pushing her inner mean girl. And so she had the confidence to stand up for herself and take care of herself. And so what a great way, or a great explanation of how this can work. She's completely shifted her own confidence and acceptance of herself. So, and it's through this development of new verbiage in her head and the pause and changing the way she sees herself. All right, step 4, practicing body AA, appreciation and acceptance for what your body can do today and beginning to step into its own uniqueness. This is an important part of this whole process, because if you don't feel good in your body, or are beating yourself up constantly, looking in the mirror, weighing yourself, any of those things that can trigger harsh language to the body, that increases stress, number one. And it also there's a subliminal message behind that in your brain that says you're not worth taking care of, or you're not worthy. And so we really want to think about, okay, how can we at least shift the way you're feeling about yourself? Because your own body, appreciation of what your body can do for you here and now and today, not tomorrow, not next week, not what it did 10 years ago. Let's start to appreciate it, what it can do today, and let's take a look at how we can um, begin to think positively about your body, where it is. And this is such a hard part because of society's thin ideal, and we're butting up against that. The analogy I use on this is a good gift, bad gift. If you get a bad gift, a gift that you don't like, usually it sits at the bottom of your closet, you regift it, you maybe bring it to Goodwill, you get rid of it, but you don't take care of it. When you get a good gift, you take care of it, you treasure it. And if you're thinking of your body as a horrible, bad gift, there's this underlying message that it's not worth taking care of. So if we can shift it over with some respect and appreciation, what follows is taking better care of it, because it's worth taking care of. So this step 4 is another important piece of the puzzle, right? So it's not just eating or moving or changing self-talk. It's starting to appreciate your body too. And my client Abby, she is now feeling good in her body just as it is. And it's shifted everything. So her whole mindset, her confidence in herself, she's doing things she wouldn't have done before, taking pictures of herself that she wouldn't have done before, right? Or getting in pictures, going places that she wouldn't have done before. So by feeling comfortable in your body, you don't miss out on life experiences. And lastly, step 5, stress less by engaging in daily self-care. So as I talked about back in step 1, if we diet or restrict or overexercise, we have an increase in cortisol. And that's just, internal stress on the body. And our life is full of stress today. And I think especially for women, we're always doing, emptying our cup. And it is imperative that we start to take care of ourselves and start to reduce our stress. If that cortisol level stays high, it's going to fight against any kind of release of weight, because the cortisol signals the body to it's a protection mechanism. It signals the body to hold on to weight. So if we're constantly in a state of stress, the body's not going to release weight no matter what you do. So it's about, okay, let's start to decrease stress. And the easiest way to do that is to start to implement some self-care. And what does that look like, right? My favorite saying is, self-care is not a luxury, it's a necessity. We have to start taking care of ourselves, and you're hearing it everywhere, right? And it doesn't have to be going and getting a massage. It can be 5 minutes of drawing, doodling. It can be listening to a song. It can be meditating. It can be watching a funny YouTube video. It's taking time for you to just sit and relax and be with you and fill your cup up. What makes you happy? What relaxes you? What makes you feel good? And so it's starting a daily practice of taking a few minutes every day, a couple of times a day even, to just be with you and do something that makes you smile, or connect with somebody that makes you smile. It can be getting a massage or a manicure, but it also can be taking a bath, or writing in a journal, drawing, right? So it can be lots of different things. Client Jackie, I could never imagine how taking care of myself could actually improve my relationship with my kids. So what's happened with Jackie is, just by taking care of herself, she shows up more fully for her kids. She models taking care of herself as behavior for her kids, and her relationship with her kids has gotten closer. They're more connected, and they are talking more. So it's been pretty amazing. But she's filling her cup, so she has the time and the energy to be with them as well. So it's an interesting transition that she's made. So I've gone over all 5 steps now. We've talked about all the different 5 steps. And what happens is they all come together and work together. The definition of insanity: to do the same thing over and over again and expect different results. And I think about that when it comes to dieting over and over and over again and expecting something different to happen. If you've been on 10 diets and you're expecting something different, right? So I hope that you can see from today that there is a better way. So what I'd like to introduce to you today is a 5-week program that's putting this Finally Free, Fit, and Fabulous program all together for you. So let me share a little bit about it with you. It includes 5 virtual group coaching sessions. So it's held weekly, once a week for 5 weeks. And what we do is we dive into these 5 steps, and we talk about how these 5 steps can be implemented into your life. It also includes, which I'm really excited about, a whole year, 365 days of our Shaping Perspectives online learning cafe. We have a Finally Free, Fit, and Fabulous Foundations course. It has, right now I believe it has 10 different courses in it, but we have 5 foundations, which you can see here, 25 tips and tools, Yoga Nidra, which is stress less guided meditations. Now that's 10. We have 9 meditations in there, and also a series of mindful main minutes. So if you just have 1 minute to watch something that's going to relax you, so that's included for a year. Intentional intuitive eating. This is an intentional and intuitive eating class that you can take at your own pace. Drumming Fun with Annie is drumming, 8 different drumming classes. You have access to them for the whole year. And we have a 7-day self-care challenge in there. Every month, we add something to this foundations course. So you actually, throughout the course of this year, you would continue to get new information and resources right here in this foundations. And you're getting access to this online learning cafe for the whole year. So not just through the 5 weeks that we go through the class, it's for the whole year following. You also get our comprehensive guide, You Are Enough, the 5-step guide to peace with food, eating, weight, and body image. And that's kind of like a nice hands-on. You can print it off the computer and you can have it with you. And it talks about each of the 5 steps and why they're so important. So you have that as well. A 1-year membership to the Diet Free Sisterhood. So the Diet Free Sisterhood is a private online membership forum. There is a group of 39 of us in there now. And this has weekly journaling prompts, support and connection and inspiration with people that get it, people who are on this journey with you. And I jump in there once a month and I do a live Q&A in there too. So this is all for you for a full year, not just the 5 weeks of the class. You also get a free 30-day. So for almost the whole time that we're in the class, you have the access to the Self-Talk Plus audios, which I'll be giving assignments to as we go through the 5 weeks, so that you start to flood that brain. We start to put in some different language in there and start to make a difference in the way you feel and talk to yourself. So just pause for a minute and take a deep breath and imagine that thoughts about food are no longer obsessive. You're not obsessing about food or what you're eating for lunch or what you ate last night. You're beginning to trust your body. You can feel when you're hungry and you approach food with an attitude of joy and relaxation. You eat until you're full. You feel good in your body. You go places, you do things. It doesn't stop you from doing things. And you get to choose what you want to eat. It's not, you don't look at food as good or bad anymore. It's just food. And you can enjoy foods that you love. And you've developed this great trust in your body. And the body trusts you as well. So what I want to share with you is a little bit about jumping into this program if you're ready. It's a 5-week program, Finally Free, Fit, and Fabulous, we're calling it. It's $275, and that includes everything that I talked about. The 5 weeks of the group coaching, and you get 24 access to all those recordings, so you have those recordings forever. You get our comprehensive guides. You have a hard copy of what we're talking about. 365 days to all those different classes on the Online Learning Cafe, a self-talk membership with over 100 audios, and membership into that Diet Free Sisterhood, where we have conversations once a month as well, Q&As. So it holds you accountable, and you're supported by other women that are walking this journey with you. We believe that anything is possible and success is inevitable here at Shaping Perspectives. So I hope you're ready to start now and break the cycle and step into loving what is right now, right here today, living with more joy today, and connecting more deeply with yourself and others. So I hope that this webinar has given you an idea of what this is all about, I would love to have you join me in the Finally Free, Fit, and Fabulous 5-week program. So you can reach out to me at Annie@shapingperspectives.com if you're interested in more information, and I will um, share that with you and jump on the phone if you have any questions as well. So I hope you have a fabulous rest of your day. Thank you very much for taking some time to be with me tonight.